Hey YouTube, Kirk from Kreation Station. Today we're going to talk about screen sets in Logic and how they can improve your workflow. Hi everyone, we're going to talk about screen sets today. So this is in a Mac OS X system. In my case I'm using a MacBook and in Logic 9. So basically going to do some videos around, particularly around workflow, probably not so much around the techniques of mixing, because if I'm honest I'm still refining that. I guess we always are. But there's certainly a lot of people that know an awful lot more about that, so I'll be doing some videos later to link out some of the cool stuff that I've found really helpful in learning to the point I'm at now. But what I think is interesting is workflow and how different people arrange their workflow and things. So I'm going to share some of that with you. So this first one will be around, as I said, around screen sets. I've certainly found they're very helpful and speed up my workflow for me. So jumping into it. This is a project I'm working on. So we've got a number of different screen sets you can see here. These are custom named for a particular purpose. Down here you've then got a duplicate and rename function. So duplicate obviously to copy one of the screen sets, rename, you can then create the custom names for it. You've then got the unlock. So if you notice here, you've also got the keyboard shortcuts, Shift, Command and L. So that's worth committing to memory in the way that you work. So take note of that one. So basically what I've done, I have one set up as my main arrange window where I can see the whole project. It's zoomed out to the whole thing, so I can see all the different parts, etc. I then have some specific to different things. So in this case, Orchie being orchestra, so this has got a few programmed MIDI orchestral sort of parts, a bit of a horn section. So that obviously gives me quick access to the score editor, just makes things a bit quicker. Then I've got a couple for the guitars. So these are set up. I've got left and right guitars, and I've got two actually in each case. So guitars 1 and 2 on the left. So here's 1, here's 2. And so I like to line them up pretty much sequentially. So I've got a couple of EQs on EQ, then a comp. It actually then goes over the guitar rig, back to this comp. So basically this allows me to see everything fairly quickly, and then if I want to jump between the different screens, so if I jump over to screen set 4, that's my right guitars, same setup but on the right hand side, again exact same deal, but this allows me to quickly see what sort of EQs I've set up on each one, compare them, and when you're mixing that just makes it a lot easier than otherwise jumping into the different instruments, having to pull up the effects, etc., waiting for them to load. This just, for me, makes things so much faster. So then if I just quickly go through the rest, I've set up one for my drums and the same thing. So I'm using Easy Drummer, quick access to the actual plugin window, and then the effects that I've got running against that as well. And in this case, I've actually got that from a couple of tracks, because there's the main kick track, the main drums track here, which is this one, which has the plugin on it. And then there's an auxiliary, so I've got that sending out to an auxiliary track, and there's a limiter and an EQ on that. So when I look at the plugins, I've got those here as well, so I can see exactly what's going on. Moving on, we've got screen set 6, I think is my bass. Yep, same sort of deal, guitar rig, some processing, etc. Like I said, I won't go into the details of what I've got on these, because this isn't really a mixing video. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to do another video, but this one's just on the screen set. So number 8, did I miss one there? Sorry. 7 being an output. So I like to have a couple of things on the output, so multimeter, so you can see what's going on. So again, making decisions in the mix, etc. You can jump across to this screen set and then very quickly see how it's affecting your overall mix. Things like correlation, summing to mono and having a look at that kind of stuff. Just makes it a bit easier. And then there's a couple of lead tracks on this particular one. And what I tend to do is use, this is a pretty default sort of screen setup that I use for pretty much all the projects. Maybe vary a couple of things, like they won't all have that. and may have one or two lead tracks. This has got a couple because I was switching left to right, just sort of mix it up like a twin guitar attack, old school metal sort of thing. So again, got the plugins. This makes it very easy when you're mixing, or even if you come back to it later, to quickly dial in a few different things, etc., etc. So that's basically how that works. Now, as you're working with them, like I said, you want to know that keyboard shortcut, because if you make any changes, so that's Command Shift and L, press that, it'll unlock the screen set. You can see up the top here that the little dot disappeared, means it's unlocked. Now, if I make any changes, that'll be retained with that screen set the next time I switch to it. So let's say, for example, argument's sake, my main window, I open up an EQ window. So if I go to screen set 2, you see it's still locked. Come back to screen set 1, that's retained that setting. Now if I lock it again, that's now locked. Now if I close that whilst it's locked, it won't retain that change. It still pops up because it was locked when I closed it. So if I want to make sure that it's the way I want it to be with that gone, I need to lock it. So what I tend to do in terms of workflow is unlock, make any changes, and lock straight away, so that you don't forget. It's very easy to forget, leave it unlocked, close down a bunch of windows, and then realise, oh shit, I didn't actually mean to do that. So that's generally the workflow. The other one that's handy, so if I switch over to one that's got a lot of plugins, is the shortcut command V, because that'll hide all your plugin windows. So if I'm needing to jump to, to see something that's going on here, or, line up a cycle record section, or whatever the case may be, it's very easy to do that from here. And X is the other one, because X will pull up your mixer. So again, if you're working through opening up windows, that can be very handy. So let's just go back to one. I'll give you another example. So if I was going to set this up, so let's say I unlock it. Let's say I want to open up all the plugins for one of the, so let's say this guitar track here. So there's quite a few. So I'll just go start double clicking these. Now at some point, as I'm doing that, and it might prove me a liar, one of the plugin windows might jump up in front of the mixer. So, and I've still got more I want to open. So the very quick way to deal with that, rather than having to move it, press V, that gets rid of it. Then I can open up the next thing, press V to get rid of it again, open that up. Now I've got them all lined up. Now it's just a case of arranging them however it is that I want to see them. I tend to be, I like my symmetry and I like my alignment, so I tend to try and make it neat, because I just find it's easier to sort of look at if there's not big gaps where I see the background through it, etc. But that's just me. And also I like to sort of line them up in order, essentially in the effect order. But that's a quick and easy way to do it. And then once I'm done, lock it again, Command Shift L. Now when I go back to it, lo and behold, there's my screen set. So that's how you set them up. Now, a couple of other quick things that are handy with this. Multiple desktops, which is something you can do with a Mac, which is handy. So if I just duck over to one of the other ones that I already have set up, if you come over to your system's preferences, so if you're not using it, the mission control is kind of handy. So there's a couple of ways you can configure it in terms of how you launch it. So if you come into here in the settings, you can line that up to your function buttons as a key command. If you're using a laptop, like I am, I like the trackpad gestures. I find they're really handy. So mission control, this is the gestures for your trackpad if you have one. That makes it a lot easier. There's also three fingers left and right, then swaps between the desktops. Or you can use, if you're on the keyboard, Control 1, 2, or Control X being the number for the desktop. So 1, 2, 3 in my case, to switch between them. I'm a big fan of keyboard shortcuts and doing everything I can with the keyboard. If you're not, or you're not in the practice, I reckon it highly recommended. It speeds things up a lot, especially if, like me, a guitar player, I've often got a guitar in my hands. It's a lot easier to just take one hand away, not have to jump to the mouse as well. Speeds things up a lot. If you use the mouse all the time, you'd be surprised how much it speeds up. Just the difference of having to drag around a screen, especially something as detailed as when you're using your DAW. Real handy one I like, real quick. Command C for copy, Command A for select all and Command V for paste. So in this instance, the way I'd use that if I'm renaming my screen set, so particularly where I'm using the same name a couple of times in a row as per this, I would go into one, rename, whatever I'm going to call it, type that in, and then rather than have to highlight with the mouse, Control A, select all, Control C to copy that. Now, not that I hit OK, I've already named this, so I'm not going to do that. Then I could switch to the next screen set or duplicate it. But when it comes to wanting to rename it, rename, and then I can simply paste in that name. In this case, it's left and right, so that way all I have to do is change that to right for argument's sake in this example, and then OK. Yeah, I'll cancel it for now because mine's already named, but that can be a quick and handy one. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you today. Thanks for watching, guys. If this was helpful to you in any way, please hit the like button. If you want to see some more tutorial videos, there'll be a lot more stuff coming up. Like I said, if there's something particularly you want to know about, hit me up in the comments and I'll get something done for you. If you're interested in some more metal videos and things like that, check out my channel, Kreation Station. A lot of collaboration videos, some full band covers, some originals and stuff like that as well. Yeah, check it out. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested. And thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Cheers. Bye.